Folks, before we begin, I have something to tell you. It is summertime, okay? It's very, very hot. Okay, and with that said, I don't want you to be alarmed, but today I am, in fact, wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. With that said, let's dive into some AskReddit, shall we? You wake up in 1950. You're 20 years old again, with no identifiable paperwork, no house, no connections, only a suitcase filled with $50,000. What are you gonna do? I wonder what I would do in that situation. I think the first thing I would do is I would take that suitcase full of the $50,000, go to like a radio station or something, and ask politely for a surprise microphone. Why does everyone think IBM was traded in the 1950s? IBM isn't even in the 100 oldest. I think they're talking about stocks and stuff here. But this guy's basically saying you want to buy stock in Coca-Cola and Geico. So I guess a lot of these comments are going to be like, invest so you can be rich. But then again, if you're 20 in 1950, in the year 2000, you'd be 70. You'd be 71 for the big event that happened in New York. Yeah, I don't know, man. It would suck because you'd be, I mean, obviously, like, the answer is probably you buy real estate and, index funds or whatever and stocks, Coca-Cola, Geico, sure. I don't know. I really like this era that we're living in now. Dude, there's no Uber Eats in 1950s, okay? No Uber Eats. Check infant death records from 20 years ago, find a name you like, and then request the birth certificate. Presto, new identity. Don't try that now. Go to LA, buy property at the edge of the popular areas, and sell it as the city grows. Repeat. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so real estate. Yeah. I'd hope to God that 50K is dated 1950 or earlier, LMAO. True. That's interesting. Yeah, because then it would be, because then you wouldn't be able to spend it. To put inflation in perspective, my dad bought a house in Portland, West Hills for $2,400 in 1961. He made 4 payments of $600 from his wages as a machinist. He bought a house in Portland for $2,400 and he made 4 payments? That is insane. I looked at Zillow a couple of years ago. That house is worth $2.1 million. $50K was a lot of money in 1950. My grandma lived in Cupertino in a house she bought for $6,000 back in the 60s. She said when she was a little girl, she used to dream of someday being rich and living in $1 million house. She'd say, I imagined it would be a huge, fantastical mansion with a massive garden and a dozen bedrooms. Now I'm old and I have $1 million house and it's just the same darn shack I've always had. That's so sad. I mean, it's true. Literally, all of these are just financial stuff. What illegal thing do you do on a regular basis? I'm gonna guess on these. A lot of people are gonna say, the green stuff is illegal in the state or country they live in. It's probably that. Let me think. My guess is that some of these are gonna be people saying they steal candies. Let's see. When I was younger, me and my sister were driving down the road and we saw a roadkill raccoon. We decided to pull over and see if it was still alive. It wasn't, but it had a baby raccoon trying to cuddle up to it. We felt bad and took him in. He lived with us for about 14 years until he died. Apparently, it's illegal to own a raccoon without a license, but raccoons only live for around 3 years in the wild, so I like to think we gave him a pretty good life for an orphan raccoon, regardless of it being illegal. We live in a small town and regularly took him on walks to the park and stuff. He loved people and sat on my shoulder while I was on a 4th of July parade float. Rip Bandit. Oh, Bandit is such a good name for a raccoon. Do you guys remember, Sly Cooper? Do you guys remember this game, Sly Cooper? I was just thinking about this game the other day. It's such a good game. You guys remember this, man? It's this raccoon character for the PlayStation 2. Oh, I had so much fun playing this game with my brother when we were growing up. Dude, it was great. You would slide down these things. It was like Crash Bandicoot, but more cool, personally, I think. Oh, man. And then there was a turtle. This turtle right here sort of sounded exactly what I sound like. See if you can find some footage of that, editor. I want to see how close I am.
Your mother was a broken down tub of junk with more gentleman callers than the operator.
But yeah, owning a raccoon, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool illegal thing. That's completely the opposite of what I was thinking. When I was in college, parking was $500 per semester, which I couldn't afford. That is so stupid that they charge you for parking when you're paying for tuition. For any of you out there who have to pay for parking, that is so dumb. I simply went to class each day until I got a parking ticket. I went online, paying the $50 fine, but kept the ticket. Each time I would park on campus, I would toss the ticket out onto my windshield so that parking police thought I was already ticketed. This worked for 2 years. About $1,000 worth of parking for $100. Then I came out of class one day to find 2 tickets and a note that said, "Nice try." That's really good. I like that. I did this in LA for a little while. Parking tickets out here in LA are like $75, and I used to get them all the time because I lived in an area in Koreatown where if you park overnight, you got to move your car by 8 a.m. for street cleaning. So you'd have to get up really early. Earlier than 8 a.m. to me is really early. And you'd move your car to the other side of the street, and then that would be clear. But I could never wake up on time. Frankly, I could never wake up. So I got a ticket and then I left it on there and it kind of worked. It kind of worked for a little bit until it didn't. You know, when I was in college, someone figured out that you could add time to the old non-digital parking meters by shoving a popsicle stick in the coin slot repeatedly. My friend and I went around filling people's meters for months. Oh, well, thank you, friend. Thank you. You have done a service to this nation. You've done a beautiful service. That is such a kind thing to do. Where does that money go? To like the streets? It's like a different type of taxation, isn't it? Parking enforcement is like a subsidiary of the city. And so that goes to what? Like the street sweeper salaries? I guess that makes sense. That's fair, but still, I want to be grumpy about it. I want to be grumpy. You know, if you really think about it, parking tickets and like parking meters and stuff just go into paying the meter maid, right? So it's kind of like they've invented a job. The money from the parking tickets simply goes into the people who ticket the cars. When I was a kid, I thought it was normal that we could buy movies the day after they came out from the Chinese lady in the chicken shop. I didn't realize it was a crime until middle school when I told someone my grandma had Avatar on DVD and they said it was impossible since the movie was still in theaters. Hey, maybe that lady was a union member of SAG-AFTRA. Huh? Maybe she had a screener of Avatar, and maybe she was just distributing the goods. Maybe she was just being a nice lady. I will say, watching a bootlegged version of Avatar on DVD had to have been the craziest thing, because aren't bootlegs of that sort filmed on camcorders in the back of a theater? And isn't Avatar like the most visually beautiful movie of all time? I will say this. You know what? I'm gonna get in your face about this while I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. Here's the thing. Avatar, the people with blue people who do the sex with their hair. Avatar, in my opinion, is a great movie. I've not seen the sequel, so don't come at me for the sequel, but Avatar's a great movie. Do you know why? Because there's a golden rule, in my opinion. If you are watching a play, a theatrical play, you should be able to be completely blind and understand everything that's happening. That's a play. That's the format of the play. It's very dialogue heavy. It's very intellectual. But a movie, the rule is you should be able to be deaf and understand everything that's going on, because films are a visual medium. And can you name a movie? Can you name a movie outside of Avatar that fits the bill that well? I don't freaking think so. Avatar's a great movie because it is a perfect film for visual medium. I'm not saying every movie that is visually stunning is a great movie, but maybe I kind of am, actually. Maybe that's exactly what I'm saying. I've never told anyone about this before, but back when I was 15 in 1979, I stole a Datsun 240Z car in my neighborhood. You stole a car in your neighborhood? We're gonna look up. Let's look at the Datsun. That is really a pretty car. I'd steal it too. I was walking home from a friend's house one hot summer night, and as I walked by this cool Z car, I noticed a single key sticking out of the driver's door lock. Oh, it was the 70s, man. People felt safer back then. You're the reason why your neighborhood's property value went down, okay? I'm just saying. I had always thought that car was cool and thought it would have been bitchin' to drive. Well, it was. So I kind of looked around and saw no signs of life anywhere, so I got in and drove it off. It was a super nice car. I drove all around the valley, grew up in Palm Springs. See, the thing is, I knew he was from California because the phrase bitchin' is so California. This car was too nice to be treated to a joyride, so after a few hours of driving it, I took it back and parked it right in front of its parking spot at about 4 a.m. I figured it was very unlikely that the owner would even know it had drove, other than it was missing about a third of a tank of gas. But I did keep the key because they would think that they just misplaced it somewhere. And I guess that's exactly what they did, because a couple of weeks later, I did the same thing, only this time it was almost out of gas, so I had to put some in it. Did the second time just like the first time. About a week later, I did it again. That time I drove it up to Big Bear Lake because I was dying to drive it on mountain roads. It was a blast. Until I stopped at a little gas market to get a snack and bumped into one of my older brother's good friends who knew I was only 15 and didn't have a driver's license or a car, much less a vintage sports car. I can't remember the lies I told him, but knew I was going to be in deep shit when I got home. I hauled ass back to PS, Palm Springs, stopped at a 7-Eleven, filled the car with gas and stuck it back into their driveway, took a pen and scribbled out a thank you note and told them that I really love their car and they really shouldn't leave the key in the door overnight. Oh, and by the way, I filled the tank for you. Thanks. Z car lover. Oh, and my brother's friend, he never said a word to anyone about seeing me. Shout out to the brother's friend. Shout out to you. You're a real one. You're a man of adventure. I love a nice little joyride, a little fun thing. I'm a little older now, you know what I'm saying? I'm not 15 exactly, but I'm not really into sports cars right now. I think I've phased out of that life. Right now, I'm rocking a Defender, which is like a cushy SUV type thing. I think I like that better. I like being up, being low to the ground freaks me out, dude. I illegally jaywalk all the time. I just can't resist the thrill of crossing the street wherever I please. Yeah, I don't do that so much. I think it's because I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? I have problems not following that rule. Again, live in LA. There's like 3 or 4 lanes of traffic each side. If you jaywalk over here, I mean, you're just asking for somebody to hit you. I'd like to know how many people cheat on their taxes just because they're ignorant to what they're supposed to do / pay. I'm sure many of us. The IRS caught me once and I honestly had no idea I was doing it wrong. Apparently my accountant should have told me and they never did, but I got a new accountant who helped me rectify it and the IRS didn't even charge me the fine in the end. Can I tell you something? Real quick? I once upon a time had an accountant tell me the day before the money was due that I owed the state of California $12,000. When I first started making money on YouTube, I was new to the tax game. I hired a new accountant, and she told me the day before the money was due that I owed the state of California $12,000. Can you imagine somebody telling you, hey, by the way, good job on life, $12,000 tomorrow now? No. That was our last conversation. I'm not going to lie to you right now. Downloading music through YouTube to MP3. The thing about these websites, when you go YouTube to MP3, those websites, there's always a pop-up, and there's always like a risk that you're going to download a virus. Always. I cut my own hair in my house, but I'm not registered as a hairdresser under the 1939 Hairdressers Act? Oh, it's an Ireland thing. Interesting. I'm pleased to know that I can sue my mom for the bad haircuts she gives me. That's really... You can't do anything about the face, though. Ooh! Shorts. I'm wearing shorts. I didn't have any other music on standby, so I just needed something to punctuate how big of a burn that was. All right, we're going to dip our toes. We're going to dip our toes into a little bit more of a serious topic, but we'll try to give it some levity. Maybe. We'll just, whatever. We'll just talk about it. Here we go. What screams I'm not feeling good mentally at all? One that I'm thinking of right now, just off the dome, is sometimes you get these on questionnaires whenever you sign up for therapy websites or whenever you sign up for therapy or if you go to a doctor's office. One symptom is, are you moving slower than you normally would to the point to where other people notice? That is a symptom. I've gone through periods where I was moving very, very slowly and it was freaking me out. And that was a side effect of just me not feeling good mentally. So my thing, if I were to comment on this, I would say moving really slow physically and maybe talking slow, being slow to respond. Here we go. Zoning out. Overthinking, emotionless, exhausted, and oversleeping. I oversleep a lot. I don't know if that correlates to this or not, but I definitely oversleep all the time. Zoning out is interesting. Everybody, see, the thing is, like, if it's one of these things, like, that doesn't necessarily mean this, Usually for me, it's difficulty processing what people are saying and having trouble starting sentences. It's about to happen tomorrow morning, considering it's Monday tomorrow. Yeah, actually, when I was going through a really, really anxious period, I'm talking like a 3-day long panic attack. It was awful. I noticed that I just could not listen. I just couldn't listen to like anybody. I was watching people talk and I was having like a huge mental issue with just like the idea of death. And I was like, do they all not realize that we're all going to die? Like I was just freaking out in my head. And I had the inability to pay attention to anything. I had the inability to listen. Mindfulness techniques like meditation and stuff is great because it sort of allows you to point that flashlight of focus onto something else. If the flashlight is internal and you're zeroing in on your own negative thinking and your negative thoughts, it's just going to spiral. I mean, it's just going to spiral, most likely it's going to spiral. If you put if you put effort into shining that flashlight outside of your inside and trying to like actively listen to somebody else and just like watch their lips and just try to picture what they're talking about, just imagine in your mind what they're talking about and keep doing those reps of refocusing your attention. Just being aware that your attention is internal is like the first half of the battle. For my anxiety. I know I'm bad off when I've lost my appetite. I love food. Can I tell you something? I love food too. Okay, you're not alone, sis, my little baby. You're not alone, little my baby. Speaking from personal experience, having time to do things you enjoy, but doing nothing, not out of laziness, more like lack of motivation. Yeah, what you do when you're alone, when you're by yourself, pay attention to that because it's interesting. For me, lately, I got to tell you something crazy. For me, lately, I am spending like 7 to 10 hours a day on my phone when I have nothing to do. I'm talking the weekends. I spend 7 to 10 hours a day on my phone. I think out of like habit and also that my body has learned that it's okay to just, kind of be in this vegetative state. of being on the weekends, and that's not good. So what I did recently, I'm getting rid of my cell phone. By that I mean I'm turning it off 5 days a week, and I've switched to having cellular data on my Apple Watch. So in my day-to-day, I can't go on Instagram because my phone is a brick in a drawer somewhere because I've turned it off. I can do pretty much anything. I can listen to Spotify on this thing. I can listen to Audible. I can it has 5G or 4G or something, so I can just all on my Apple Watch. I can make phone calls. I can text. What I'm saying is there are workarounds. The plan is my screen time goes down considerably, and I get new habits, and I'm able to do new things that don't involve me just being like this all day long. I kind of want to vlog. I really want to vlog about it. Maybe I will make a video about it, but I think it's so interesting. Sitting in the shower, also not showering. Yo, my tired brain read that as in the shower. What is something people in their 20s might not realize will significantly impact them as they reach their 40s? Your hearing. Loud noise over time is bad and is not fixable. So true. I have those things called loops. They're like little earpieces that go in your ears, and they quiet down your surroundings by like 6 decibels or something. And I've taken that to concerts, to stand-up shows, and honestly, it's amazing. They're like $40 on Amazon. Go check them out. It's called Loop. Benefits of fitness. My father started exercising regularly in his 40s. Nothing extreme, just consistent. He's now 87 years old and still in great shape. All of his doctors agree the reason he's in such good health is because he started exercising regularly. On the flip side, he's had to deal with a lot of losses, including my mother. My stepmom's dad is like that. He's in amazing shape. He's in his 80s, and he's just a good-looking dude, you know, silver fox type cat. And I know it's because he works out all the time. And he's also mentally sharp. There's a lot of great stuff that comes with exercise. Also, when you're stressed out, your body releases cortisol, and when you exercise, it literally burns that off. It burns it out of your bloodstream. So you are less stressed. The only result is less stress. Isn't that crazy? Neglecting physical health and self-care can lead to significant issues later in life. Teeth especially, your boy flosses every day. Ever since I got a glass jar, a little glass container with those floss picks, and put those floss picks in that see-through glass container on my countertop, I've been flossing every day. I went to the dentist, I think yesterday, actually, and he was like, your gums look great. The character of the person they choose to have a long-term relationship with or even marry, single most important decision someone will ever make. Yo, yes. I've heard this a million times. I bet y'all have heard it too. The thing is, generally speaking, you are the amalgam of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And so if you're choosing your life partner and your life partner is mean or has unhealthy habits, you just got to be careful with your partner. Cuz like sometimes you'll have conversations with yourself. I know a lot of men do. They'll be like, "Man, this girl's really hot. I don't like her personality, but she's really hot." And women do this a lot too. I mean, we all do it. We've all done it where we've been in situations where we're like, "Man, that person's really hot, but I don't like their personality. Oh well, let me try it anyway." No, don't settle for that, because there's beautiful, amazing people out there who also have nice personalities. Find them. They're probably on Hinge. Huh? What are some signs you're conventionally ugly? This is a really good one. People will be more rude to you. In general, it makes everything just a little harder than if you were good looking. People will be more rude. Is that true? Are people more rude to people they don't find attractive? I feel like I treat people the same. Sometimes even like when I almost even speak to people who are more attractive more carefully. You know what I mean? Because like in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, you've got the whole world by the balls, so I'm not gonna pay you as much attention as I would the average Joe. You know what I mean? Like I feel like subliminally I do that. I should not do that. Let me be frank on that. I should not do that, but I almost feel like I'm nicer to people who are more average. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have a subliminal bias that I don't even know about. People don't tolerate you as much as other people. My weight has fluctuated throughout my life, and it is striking how different people treat you. As a bigger guy, it feels like I've had to justify my presence and go out of my way to be likable. At times where I've been more fit, I felt like people liked having me around just by default and almost seemed surprised I was trying so hard. It used to really mess with my head, but it's just human nature to gravitate towards attractive people. That is interesting. I think like they did this study where babies looked at attractive people versus people who weren't deemed as conventionally attractive, or like more symmetrical people versus people who were less symmetrical, and babies would just stare for longer at the symmetrical people. There's also an acting book called, I think, Secrets of Screen Acting, where it says the more attractive you are, the less good you have to be as an actor because you're eye candy. It's like Avatar. The story is basically Pocahontas, right? Or something like that. But the movie is so beautiful that just moments before I was talking about it like it was was The Godfather Part 2. You can't relate at all to any story about people being attracted to you. Okay, this one I can buy into. This one I can immediately go, okay, yeah. It's like you're invisible to most people, and when you get their attention, their eyes don't light up like they do when they see other people. Man, that's sad. I'm sorry, Bobby the Dude. That stings. Ow. Their eyes don't light up like that. Oh man, there's a song in that. I'm edited out of work photos that end up in our marketing. Jesus. That's tough right there. That's tough. Maybe it's because you wear logos. Maybe it's because all your clothes are Nike branded. Maybe that's it. And they can't have Nike in their marketing because you work at Adidas. That's what I'm going to go with. In my experience, work at a summer camp. The kids will tell you all your flaws, even the ones you aren't aware of yet. You know what? You know what it was for me when I was a kid? It wasn't summer camp. No. It was chat roulette. Back then, when I was like 16, I was a lot skinnier than I am now. I was like 25 pounds less, and my face was a lot slimmer, okay? I've thickened out over my years on YouTube, okay? But when I was a lot skinnier and I was on chat roulette, the thing I got the most was, damn, dude, you got a big old nose. You got a big honking nose. I'd have groups of people tell me that because my nose was the same size, but my face was like so much less. So it was so obvious that I had a big nose. Now it's not as obvious anymore. I'm bald and look like a alien. I've literally been told that before. I agree. I used to wear a hat and looked passable until one time a girl I was talking to asked me to remove it and she gasped and put a hand over her mouth. That was about the last of my self-esteem. Very much appreciate the love and support. A few things. I can't really grow facial hair. I've long since accepted my baldness. I don't believe I look good, but I don't care what anyone thinks of me anymore. Really, thanks again. You all are too nice. See, what do you mean you look like an alien? What do you mean you look like an alien? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Bald people looking like aliens. There's so many bald people in this world, man. There's so many bald folks in this world. But if you can't grow facial hair and you're bald, I don't know if I've ever seen that combo. Actually, I feel like I've only seen facially haired people be bald. I'm gonna look up bald alien. Okay, maybe this guy looks like that. Maybe this guy looks like a weird Voldemort mix. Oh, I see. This was the guy. Yeah, you'd be a lot more passable with like a nice little top hat or perhaps a helmet. Just wear a whole helmet. Oh my God. No. Well, I have some thoughts on this one. Oof. Saving that one for later. I'm gonna move on now. Once a man catcalled me, and when I turned around, he said, "Oh, sorry." That's how I know I'm rebarbative and quite grotesque. Okay, vocab. Rebarbative? Let me translate this section to English. Rebarbative, unattractive and objectionable. Wow. That is an amazing word. I'm sorry that you look in such a way that a man apologized when you turn around. But man, yeah, your vocab skills are through the roof. All right, I'm gonna leave it off there with a nice little vocab lesson. The thing is, though, it doesn't really matter what you look like as long as you are beautiful on the inside. I want you to take care of yourself, okay? Take care of yourself mentally, take care of yourself physically, and take care of yourself to some beautiful pictures of a bald alien. Take care. Editor, could you put that really hot yellow alien back up on screen? I just want y'all to look at that again. I think it's time for an outro.